Let me ask you a question. How many different industries have you tried to write business in over the last year? Construction, nonprofits, real estate, maybe a little bit of everything? If that sounds like you might be making one of the biggest mistakes producers make. In this video, I'll show you why constantly switching niches is killing your momentum, how to actually become the obvious choice in a market instead of just another option, and how to choose a niche that actually fits you so you can win long term instead of starting over every year. I'm speaking from experience with this topic. When I first started, I didn't have any clear direction on what I was going to pursue. I tried to go after contractors. I got killed. I tried auto repair shops, and I think I went one for 30. It wasn't until I landed on nonprofits that something clicked. It took me 4 years to get there. And every time I changed verticals, it felt like I had to reset everything: new lists, new marketing, new underwriting, new rules. It felt like I was running in place. And I don't think I'm alone with this problem. In fact, I think this is the part that trips people up. When you pick a niche, the beginning is always slow. You don't know the language yet. You don't know the key problems. You don't have relationships. You don't have referrals. You're basically starting from scratch. So, what do most producers do? They try construction for a few months. Then they jump to nonprofits, then maybe real estate, then something else catches their attention. And every single time they do that, they reset the clock. They reset their learning, they reset their reputation, they reset their relationships. And here's the dangerous part, because that early stage feels slow. They think the niche isn't working. But the truth is, they never stayed long enough to find out. Let me tell you what I see all the time. A producer says, I don't want to limit myself. So they take anything that comes their way: construction, manufacturing, nonprofits, real estate, churches, whatever walks in the door. And on the surface, that feels smart. It feels like you're maximizing opportunity. But in reality, you're doing the opposite. Because while you're trying to be everything to everyone, there's someone else in that same market who only does construction, or only does nonprofits, or only does habitational. And when a client talks to them, it's obvious. They speak the language, they understand the risks, and they've seen the same problems 100 times before. Meanwhile, you're trying to figure it out in real time. And clients can feel that difference instantly. This is why generalists almost always end up competing on price. Because if you don't have clear expertise, the only way to win is to be cheaper. But specialists, they don't have to be the cheapest. They're the obvious choice. And the reason they got there isn't because they're smarter, it's because they committed long enough to actually get good. Now, even if someone does pick a niche, there's another mistake that kills them: they don't stay with it long enough. Here's what it usually looks like: they pick a niche, they go after it for 6 months, maybe a year, and they don't get the results they expected. So, what do? They assume the niche is the problem and they switch. But remember the flywheel. The first phase is always slow. You're learning the business, you're figuring out who the key players are, you're starting to understand what actually matters to that type of client. And right when you're about to turn that in momentum, you stop. You walk away and you start over. So instead of building one strong position in the market, you end up with five half starts. And this is why a lot of producers feel like they've been working hard for a year or two, but hey, they have nothing to show for it because they've been restarting the process every time it got uncomfortable. The reality is, it can take years to build traction in a niche, to build recognition, to build referral sources, to become the name that people think of first. And most people quit right before that starts to happen. So they walk away thinking niches don't work, when really they just didn't give one enough time. Now, let's say you do pick a niche and you actually stick with it. There's still one more way people mess this up: they stay too broad inside the niche. They'll say, I work with nonprofits. Okay, but what kind? Because a nonprofit that runs a food bank is completely different from one running residential programs, which is completely different from one doing counseling services. They're different risks, different contracts, different problems. And if you're trying to cover all of that, you're still a generalist, just inside a smaller box. The producers who really win, they go one level deeper. They understand one type of organization and one set of problems better than anyone else. They know the coverages that actually matter. They know where deals fall apart. They know what keeps that executive director up at night. So when they walk into a conversation, it's not generic, it's specific. And specificity is what creates separation because now you're not just another producer who works with nonprofits, you're the person who gets this exact type of business. That's when you stop competing and start getting chosen. So if you feel like you've picked a niche, but it's not clicking yet, it might not be the niche. It might be that you haven't gone deep enough inside it. There's one more mistake I see, and this one's a little more subtle. You pick a niche that sounds good on paper, but doesn't actually fit you or your agency. Maybe you've got expertise in manufacturing, but your agency, they're built around nonprofits. They've got the markets, they've got the marketing, they've got the service team, they've got the track record. So now you're trying to go win in a space where you don't have the right support behind you. Or it goes the other way. Your agency has a strong position somewhere, but you're chasing a niche you don't actually understand or care about. And either way, it creates friction. You don't have the right markets, you don't have the right materials, you don't have the right internal support. So even if the niche could work, it doesn't work for you. The best niches aren't just attractive, they're aligned. They match your experience, they match your agency's strengths, and they give you a real chance to win. Because when those things line up, everything gets easier. Your messaging is clearer, your conversations are stronger, and your results start to come. So if you zoom out, this is really what it comes down to. Most producers think success in a niche is about picking the perfect one. It's not. It's about picking one, committing to it, going deep, and staying with it long enough to actually build momentum. Because the people who win in a niche, they didn't magically pick better than you. They just stayed long enough to become the obvious choice. And once you do that, the next problem becomes how you actually turn that position into consistent opportunities and a steady flow of business. Because once you've picked a niche and stuck with it, the real question becomes how do you actually position yourself so clients stop seeing you as just another option? How do you become the person they automatically trust? That's exactly what I break down in this video right here. Click right here and I'll show you how to become the obvious choice to your commercial insurance clients, even if you're new.